Here I wanted to make a video of two extremes that we find in Christianity. And let's start with the legalist. And oftentimes a legalist will focus on how much they sin or the seriousness of sin, which these are very important things to consider because we are called to live a righteous, holy life. Yet, if we take our focus off of Christ and how he accomplishes that through us, we get into the overly legalistic, I have to deal with my sins, I have to deal with my sins, I have to deal with my sins, instead of keeping our primary focus on Christ. Now, if we go over to the other extreme, where we find Christians that talk about grace a lot, and grace, which is very good because we are saved by grace through faith, and this is not of yourself. It is a gift from God, not by works, lest anyone should boast. Then we end up on this other side of the spectrum where we're talking so much about grace that we forget the holiness of God. And that he must punish sin. And sin is serious in his eyes. Even when a Christian sins, that's very serious to him. Now, if we go over too far on this side, we may lose sight of God's love. Or his grace. Now, how do we stay centralized? After all, Christ is the central focus. So I think the more, let's see, whether you're here or here, the goal is to be centered in Christ. And so, the more we pursue him on an active level, let's say this is the Christian over here that's the legalist, and this is the Christian over here that is kind of complacent, but they know they both have a problem with this. The more we all, whether we're on this spectrum or that, the more we all keep pursuing Christ, the more he aligns us more perfectly into what he wants us to be, centered on him. And that way we get both grace and truth, holiness, and the love of God centered rightly in our life. Have you ever driven a car that had the improper alignment? Either one of the wheels will lean too far to the left or one will lean too far to the right, and they'll eat up your tires. A lot of Christians are driving on a faulty alignment, like I have so often in my life. But they have this machine at like the car places where they actually pull the alignment into proper place. How do we pull our lives into proper alignment? We set our minds on the things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your hearts on things above and not on earthly things, as Colossians 3 says. So I'm going to write this down. Colossians 3. And it goes on to say you died and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. So when we make him the focus of our lives as Christians, we become more like Christ. For he was truly the perfect balance of both truth and grace. For the law came through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. God bless.